What if everything you've been chasing your whole life, money, success, recognition, has been running away from you? Not because you're unlucky or unworthy, but because you've been searching in the wrong direction. What if the real reason you're not where you want to be is not out there, but inside you? And what if one hidden principle, understood by only a few, could flip your entire life trajectory overnight? Welcome to American Wall Street. Before we go deeper, make sure to subscribe to the channel so we have the motivation to continue bringing you powerful videos like this one. If you truly want to be wealthy and happy, not for a week, not for a season, but for the rest of your life, you must understand one foundational truth. Success does not begin with the job you do. It begins with the person who shows up to do that job. Everything in your life is orbiting around one central axis: who you are becoming. Not what you have, not what you want, but what you are made of internally. Most people never realize this. They spend years chasing a bigger paycheck, a better position, a lucky break. But here's the paradox no one tells you. Your income almost never exceeds your level of personal development. And on the rare occasion it does, maybe you stumble into a windfall, maybe you land an opportunity you weren't prepared for, it will always return to match who you truly are. Money sticks to identity. If you grow beyond your current level, your wealth expands with you. If you don't, it shrinks right back to the size of your comfort zone. This is why so many people receive more than they're prepared for and lose it. Because life does not reward what you temporarily achieve. Life rewards what you permanently become. Success isn't something you chase. It's something you attract by upgrading the person you are. If you want a different reality, you don't chase a different life. You build a different self. And here's the twist that shocks most people. Your biggest problem is not lack of money. It never was. Your real obstacle is lack of ideas. Ideas powerful enough to reshape your thinking, your habits, and your future. A person with a clear, compelling idea can start with nothing and rise to everything. But a person with no ideas can have everything in their hands and still lose it all. True happiness is not found in what you get. It is found in who you become during the process of growth. When you expand your mindset, your skills, your awareness, the world expands with you. When you transform yourself, you transform your results. So the first and greatest step on your journey is simple but profound. Work harder on yourself than you do on anything else. Because the moment you elevate the person within you, everything outside you must rise to meet it. Now here's a question for you. A simple one, but the answer reveals everything about your mindset. Comment A or B below. A, success is mainly about external opportunities. B, success is mainly about who you become. If the first step toward a new life is understanding that everything begins within you, then the second step is learning how the world truly works. Nothing changes until you gain new insight, new understanding, and new ideas powerful enough to reshape the direction of your life. Ideas are the raw material of transformation. They are the spark that ignites discipline, purpose, creativity, and ambition. Without new ideas, you can only repeat old patterns. Without learning, you can only relive the same results. This is why gaining knowledge is not simply an intellectual exercise. It is an act of renewal. Every powerful idea you absorb becomes a seed planted in the soil of your future. And there are 3 timeless gateways to discovering how life works. The first is reading. Every successful person I have ever known is a relentless reader. Not because reading is a hobby, but because reading is a form of self-expansion no one can take away from you. One book, chosen wisely, can save you years of wandering down the wrong path. Inside books are the strategies, failures, victories, and philosophies of people who have already walked the path you want to walk. The fastest way to accelerate your progress is to borrow someone else's lifetime of experience and compress it into a few hours of attention. When you read, you absorb not only information, but perspective, not only lessons, but identity. You begin to see the world through the eyes of someone who has already achieved the results you seek. The second gateway is listening. There is a unique kind of learning that happens only when you sit close to someone who has achieved more than you, someone who speaks from scars, not theories. Listen to how they think, how they frame problems, how they interpret setbacks. Their words carry the weight of lived experience. and that wait becomes a shortcut for your own understanding. But listening isn't just about absorbing wisdom, it's also about recognizing patterns in the defeated, the unsuccessful, the stagnant. Learning what not to do is just as valuable as learning what to do. If you study both sides long enough, you begin to see the invisible laws that govern success and failure. The third gateway is observation. The world is constantly teaching, but only the attentive ever notice. Success leaves traces in everything it touches, in the way a person organizes their time, in the way they speak, in the way they respond when pressure rises. If you observe without judgment and with genuine curiosity, you begin to pick up subtle cues that no book or lecture can fully capture. People who achieve extraordinary results are often ordinary in many ways, except for a few consistent behaviors repeated daily. These behaviors are visible to anyone willing to watch closely. When you truly observe, you realize life is always giving away its secrets. Most people are simply too distracted to notice. But ideas do not live long when kept only in the mind. You must capture them, write them, anchor them. A journal becomes more than paper. It becomes a vault where your insights compound. And once written, they must be revisited. Repetition is the bridge between knowing and becoming. The moment you study, capture, and repeat an idea, it begins to take root inside you, slowly reshaping how you think and who you are. Learning how life works is not an event, but a lifelong discipline. The more you discover, the more empowered you become. And with every new idea, your future expands a little farther, waiting for you to step into it. Once you begin to understand how life works, knowledge alone is not enough to shift the trajectory of your destiny. Insight without action becomes a form of self-deception, a comforting illusion that feels like progress but produces nothing. The real transformation begins when you decide to convert learning into movement, ideas into behavior, and intention into discipline. This is where most people hesitate, because action demands something knowledge never requires: responsibility. The moment you act, you declare to yourself and the world that you are accountable for the life you are building. Action does not begin with grand gestures or dramatic reinventions. It begins with small, consistent disciplines, simple behaviors that may seem insignificant at first, but accumulate into irreversible change. The human mind often underestimates the power of the small. It waits for motivation, for inspiration, for the perfect moment. But the truth is that the smallest discipline performed daily carries more transformative power than a burst of motivation that lasts only an afternoon. What changes your life is not the magnitude of your actions, but the consistency of them. A single push does not move a mountain, but steady pressure over time reshapes entire landscapes. This is why building small disciplines is essential. They form the inner architecture of your character. When you teach yourself to follow through on the little things, waking up on time, keeping your word, reading a few pages, completing a task you promised yourself, you strengthen the muscular system of your willpower. Discipline is a kind of internal strength training. Every time you honor a commitment to yourself, you lift a weight that expands your capacity. And without this foundational strength, you cannot carry the heavier responsibilities and opportunities life will eventually present. Self-motivation is at the core of this process. No one can do it for you. Relying on someone else to ignite your fire is a fragile strategy, because the moment they stop encouraging you, your momentum collapses. True motivation rises from within, from clarity of purpose, from a vision that pulls you forward, from the identity you are choosing to step into. When you realize you have the power to command your own behavior, you step out of the mindset of a passenger and into the seat of a creator. Even the act of beginning, no matter how small, sends a shockwave through your life. The instant you take the first step, something in you shifts. You begin to see yourself differently. You prove to yourself that you are capable of movement, capable of change, capable of building the life you envision. Action creates confidence. Confidence creates momentum. Momentum creates transformation. And it all begins with the smallest act of discipline, repeated daily. So ask yourself, what is one thing you can make yourself do tomorrow that would alter the direction of your life? Not a dream, not a wish, but a concrete act. Your future does not change through hope, but through deliberate behavior. Every day carries the potential to become a turning point. Every small action is a vote for the person you want to become. And when these votes accumulate, they rewrite the entire story of your life. After you begin taking disciplined action, there comes a moment when the path ahead tests not your intelligence, not your ambition, but your integrity. This is the crossroads where many people stumble because the temptation to take shortcuts appears disguised as efficiency, cleverness, or strategic thinking. But shortcuts do not accelerate your success, they sabotage its foundation. There is a natural order to achievement, a structure that rewards honesty, consistency, and authenticity. When you try to bend that structure, you don't beat the system, you break yourself. Every meaningful result in life requires a process, and processes take time. Yet the world constantly whispers that there must be an easier way, a quicker way, a hidden route others don't know about. This illusion seduces countless people into thinning out their efforts, slicing corners, or attempting to manipulate outcomes without earning them. What they fail to understand is that success is not only about the result, it is about the character built along the way. When you compromise the process, you compromise the person you are becoming. And if the person is weak, no amount of achievement can hold steady. Doing things the right way, even when it is difficult or slow, is an act of deep self-respect. It is a commitment to building a life that can withstand pressure, temptation, and adversity. When you choose integrity over convenience, you reinforce the belief that you are capable of managing success instead of merely possessing it temporarily. The quickest way to destroy the blessings you seek is to receive them before you are ready to sustain them. There is also a hidden cost to shortcuts that few recognize. Every time you cheat the process, you reinforce a habit of avoidance. You train your mind to seek escape rather than mastery. You build a pattern of depending on luck instead of discipline. And eventually, this pattern catches up to you because life has a way of exposing whatever you try to conceal. Those who build their lives on shortcuts inevitably crumble when pressure comes because nothing solid was ever constructed. Doing things the right way requires patience, but patience is not passive. It is active endurance, a steady confidence that the work you are doing today will mature into results tomorrow. It is knowing that every honest effort compounds, even when progress appears invisible. The strongest structures are not the ones built the fastest. They are the ones built with precision, care, and respect for the unseen forces that hold them together. Integrity also attracts opportunities. People want to work with those they can trust. Doors open for those who commit to excellence, even when no one is watching. When you become the kind of person who consistently chooses the right path, the world responds by offering you responsibilities, partnerships, and possibilities that are never available to those who take shortcuts. Ultimately, your success is not determined by how quickly you reach the destination, but by the strength of the person who arrives there. If the journey shapes you into someone capable, honest, and disciplined, then the success you gain will have roots deep enough to last a lifetime. But if you try to skip the essential stages of growth, whatever you achieve will be fragile, a structure built on sand, waiting for the first strong wind to tear it apart. So do not try to beat the system. Learn how it truly works. Honor the process. Respect the timing. Trust that doing things the right way will bring you the right life. Integrity is slow, but it is undefeated. There comes a moment in every person's life when they sense, perhaps faintly at first, that they are living below their potential. It might whisper during a quiet evening or surface in the middle of a routine day. The realization that there is more within you than the life you are currently expressing. Hidden abilities, unexplored strengths, dormant ambitions. These are not fantasies or illusions. They are signals from the deeper layers of your identity, calling you toward a version of yourself you have not yet fully met. And the most empowering truth you will ever discover is that you are not bound to remain who you are today. Change is not only possible, it is always available. Every human being carries within them a reservoir of untapped gifts. Some people never access them because they believe their future is dictated by their past. Others wait for permission, circumstance, or luck. But real transformation does not come from external conditions. It comes from a decision, a choice made quietly but powerfully in the privacy of your inner world. The choice to begin, the choice to grow, the choice to stop postponing the life you know you are capable of living. What makes this so extraordinary is that change can begin on any day you choose. You don't need a new year, a perfect plan, or a dramatic revelation. A single decision made tomorrow morning could become the hinge on which the next 5 years of your life turn. The direction of your life is not determined by large dramatic events, but by the consistent choices you make at the threshold of each new day. And the greatest tragedy is not failing, it is never choosing to try. If you do nothing different tomorrow, your life will continue on its current trajectory. This is not a punishment, it is simply how life works. The next 5 years will resemble the previous 5 unless you intervene with intention. The beauty of this truth is that you hold the steering wheel. You are not a passenger drifting through circumstances. You are the author of your next chapter. But authors must write. Designers must design. Builders must build. No one else can do the inner work that belongs to you. When you choose to make even a small change, you shift the entire momentum of your future. A new habit, a new discipline, a new perspective. Each one is a seed. And while seeds look insignificant in the moment, they contain forests within them. Change works the same way. It is humble at first, almost invisible, but given time and consistency, it grows into outcomes that astonish even the person who planted them. The question now is not whether you can change. You can. You always could. The real question is whether you will choose to. Whether you will decide that your future deserves more than the repetition of your past. Whether you will honor the gifts inside you by letting them breathe, expand, and transform your life. Tomorrow is arriving, whether you prepare for it or not. But the version of you who steps into tomorrow, that is entirely your choice. The path to a better life is neither accidental nor mysterious. It unfolds when you grow beyond your current self, learn how the world truly works, act with consistent discipline, honor the process, and choose every day to shape a future different from your past. Transformation is never a single moment. It is a daily commitment to becoming the person capable of living the life you desire. The deeper lesson is this: your future expands or contracts based on who you decide to become. Apply it by starting small today. One new thought, one disciplined action, one honest choice. Small steps compound into extraordinary change. A simple question for you: which matters more to your future right now? Consistent discipline or fresh inspiration? Share your answer in the comments so everyone can learn from your perspective. And remember to subscribe to the channel to support our work and encourage us to bring you more meaningful content.